Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome. We have an unboxing video today, something a little bit different from anything that I've done previously on the channel. This is the game. It is called Legion of Honor. It is a card game, and it is from Clash of Arms. And because it is from Clash of Arms, it is a Napoleonic card game. It is in this very large, not super deep, probably about 2 inches thick, but probably 12 by 12 box. Quite nice box, actually. Clash of Arms is from, because I've seen, although I don't own that many games from them, I've seen some of their recent productions because they do Labatt, and we've got Labatt guys here in Columbus. And they've really been hitting it out of the park on physical presentation for the last few years. The texture on this it's actually embossed. It's impossible to see, at least in this light. But it's actually embossed and has sort of a satiny, like a fabric type finish. Feels really nice. Opens really nice. So let's see what we have here. We got decks of cards. We've got in garrison, combat, and the basic premise here. And you can play it with multiple players, but it sure sounds like it's something that you can play solitaire as well. We have 3 10-sided dice. They look like Chessex 10-sided dice to me. So let's set the cards aside and look at the other stuff for now. We get this, we have 4 actually. We get this very fancy certificate, which I would characterize as almost suitable for framing, actually. Bulletin of 13 August 1792, Army of the Center, and it is signed Lafayette. So that's neat. And it's on a fairly thick paper. It's a little bit wrinkled, probably because this was sitting on the shelf of the dealer for a while. So we have a rule book. This is a full color, glossy paper. Nicely illustrated, looks like rule book that runs to what feels like about 24 pages. Indeed, it is 24 pages. So the basic premise here is that you are a Napoleonic officer, and the gameplay follows your career as a Napoleonic officer. So you can get in, think Sharps rifles type thing. You can get into battles, you can get into duels, you can have romances and stuff like that. There's actually folks that play this regularly locally. The text is fairly dense here in the rule book. I have no particular sense that this is extraordinarily complicated, but the text is relatively dense, and even though it's full color and looks nice, there's not that many illustrations. Duels. Dueling with swords or dueling with pistols. Okay, duels with card characters. All right, so that presumably means something. 100 Days campaign. So it looks like we have a couple of different, what look like scenarios. Okay. Credits. Richard J. Kane Sr. and J. Michael Ruttle, design and development. Editing by a whole bunch of people. Art direction, Tim Schleif. And graphic design by Tim Schleif, Robert Tunstall, Stephen Cunliffe, Terry Leeds. Terry Leeds is the only person on that list that I've heard of, actually. Let's see if I recognize any of the playtesters. I recognize some of the names, actually, but that's it. So, Rulebook. Real interesting game, A, because local people are playing it, B, because I believe it to be solitaire suitable. Here we have a fate sheet. This is a player aid, single-sided on a sort of glossy stock. We have a double-sided history sheet. The sheet provides historical background to the event cards. Okay, that's cool. So you get Battle of Hohenlinden, for example. There is, not entirely expectedly, a playbook. Optional rules, scenarios, and examples of play. Okay, so this is same quality standard as the other book. Looks like it's about 12 pages. We'll call it 14. With some optional rules. Multiple scenarios, apparently. You can get assigned to Spain. This looks really neat. A lot of strong narrative looks like is coming out in this game. And here's an example of play, which is great, or at least something of an example of play. All right, we have a rules summary sheet. Okay. This does, in fact, is exactly what it says on the bin. It is a rule summary of all the major rules. We have, I get to the counters last, because there's counters in this, because it's, it's me. We have a fair sex sheet, where you can woo members of the fairest sex. We have a little ad, kind of in the middle, actually, from Clash of Arms. One side is Love a Tide to Dresda, which is the Battle of Dresden, obviously, in 1813. The other one is Amateurs to Arms, which is about the War of 1812, if I'm not mistaken. I have had one of our local-ish guys speaks very highly of this. War of 1812 is not, I will say, on my particular interest level, but we have the Grognard sheet. You should all appreciate this, where you can track ranks and Napoleon. You can gain Napoleon's notice, for example. Tons of player aids here. We have a campaign season sheet. Okay. So this actually goes year by year throughout the entire period from 1792 all the way up to 1815. Here is a sheet of assignments. I noticed a lot of Roman numerals in use, which is neat. So these will be your, I guess, assignments to the various corps, which might have some impact, like as far as the leaders of those corps go. Here is a ledger sheet. Presumably you would be expected to photocopy this. Not sure how well it will photocopy given the texture. Here is an opportunity sheet. So even if the rules aren't that detailed, there's a lot going on here. Cross the Berezina. And a battle command sheet. So what happens when you actually get in a battle? Here's some more ledger sheets. These are not on the glossy stock. The other one is. These are on just like a fairly nice matte finish stock, so you can actually write on it. Yeah, well, isn't that cute? Let's look at that in a second. All right, and then we got a couple of little advertising things. We got this thing from Pocket Battle number 5 from LPS. So this is where you cut the counters out here and play it on the postcard. These are always Turning Point Simulations. That's who this is from. And then we got a whole sheet from Turning Point Simulations with a variety of things that they have. Of interest to me are this Monty's D-Day, which is a new version of the old S&T game. They have already done Bradley's D-Day, and you'll be able to link the two together to get a whole D-Day picture. And Operation Ichigo, which is a major Japanese offensive in mainland China in 44? Yes, that's something like that. All right, so there is one sheet of counters here, too. So let's take a look at those. Getting all this stuff back in the box. And because this is a card game, I feel obligated to unpack the cards and show you those, too. So, okay, so what we have here is one counter sheet of what definitely looks like half-inch counters on quite thick brown core stock, and these all appear to be markers of various kinds to track different things. They look nice. Registration looks mostly okay. It's a little bit off down here, I see. It's a little bit off on the whole sheet, it looks like, actually. But just a little bit. Not enough for me to squeal about it. And then we have cards. So let's look at these. We have two on-campaign decks, a combat deck, and an in-garrison deck. So let's bust open. That looks like these are actually openable without a tool. The combat cards. Presumably, combat in the game is a function of these combat cards. All right, so surprise enemy convoy, conduct river crossing. Cards look fairly nice. They are also fairly clean. I have seen some card games. I'm looking at you, Traveler customizable card game, where the cards are very cluttered. That does not, I mean, this one is, but generally speaking, they're fairly clean. They use either a larger print and a colored print for the specific references, or both, which I like. So this is the battle deck and more on-campaign cards, actually. Okay, so the battle deck's actually, or the combat deck's not that big. Which makes sense because combat is only a part of what this game does, right? You are simulating your career as an officer in La Grande Armée, rather than honestly, this has RPG elements by my definition. Okay, so we get two different things here too. We have a duels deck, okay? So the duels cards, lunge to kill, lunge to wound. Okay, so these are double-sided, so you have lunge to kill on the bottom and lunge to wound on the top. So that means something. I don't know what. Parry is parry both ways. So that's the duels deck. A lot of cards, but this is essentially a card game. So, and then we have on campaign. Quite a big on-campaign deck, actually, considering there's 2.5 decks of this, as far as I can tell. So this one is all on-campaign. Guides at Aracola, Battle of Rivoli. Okay, so I wonder if you put these in at a specific time on campaign event. Okay, so you trigger these at a specific time. Something like that. I guess we will. As far as I'm aware, there's like no video on on this thing on YouTube, so it is plausible that there could be a playthrough. Especially right now would be a good time for that, with everybody stuck at home. All right, so we have more in garrison cards. So there's actually quite a few of those. Dispatches. Burger insults Napoleon. Dined with senior commander. Okay, this looks neat. So these are all like the, you're in garrison, you're just sitting around, you're not on an actual campaign right now. These are interesting things that can occur. So, and then there's a few more on-campaign cards. Looks like there's a lot in here that's related to specific battles. I don't know if those go in at a specific time or if that's just kind of abstract, which it very well could be. This is not, so much a simulation as it is an entertaining pastime if you're into the Napoleonic period, as I am. So that is all kinds of pieces in here, a lot of pieces. Legion of Honor from Clash of Arms. I have had my eye on this for quite a while, actually, and I finally pushed the button and ordered it. And I'm glad I did. This is a neat-looking game that some local folks have gotten to the table. So I have a pretty good chance to get it to the table at some point as well. I want to thank you for watching. Please like the video if you have enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the little bell notification icon because that will put a notification for upcoming live streams in your subscriptions feed. And please check out the Patreon, which is linked in the video description. Until later, happy wargaming.